When we imagine someone who uses magic, most commonly we think of the classic witch, the woman with the black pointy hat who worships the devil and dances naked in the moonlight. But what if I told you that some of the earliest American practitioners were nothing like that at all? The earliest American mystical practice we have evidence of was born in southeastern Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania Dutch communities. In the Pennsylvania Dutch vernacular language, the practice is called brauwserij, but is more commonly known as powwow. This name comes from Native American spiritual practices, but the practice we're discussing is of European origin. This practice has become one of the oldest surviving European folk beliefs in North America. The practice had roots in Roman Catholic traditions of the Middle Ages and post-reformist pietist movements because of the transatlantic religious and cultural exchange and diverse community in southeastern Pennsylvania. Powwow is a peaceful spiritual practice rooted in healing and protection. It encompasses a wide variety of traditions, customs, ceremonies, and practices, mainly focused on healing and ensuring the health of people and livestock. The rituals were also done to protect from spiritual and physical harm, help in times of danger, and assurance of positive outcomes in everyday affairs. Powwow is also part of the religious life of the practitioners and intrinsically linked to their strong Christian faith, hence why they are not called witches. All of the rituals performed for health and protection link back to the strong Christian faith they hold, often calling upon the Trinity and saints for help. Practitioners of powwow treat their practice with varying levels of discrepancy. Some choose to keep their practice very private, while others are much more open about it. These practices were once extremely common throughout southeastern Pennsylvania. In some rural communities from the 18th to 19th century, they served as the only medical care for people. This tradition was kept alive through word of mouth, taught from male to female and vice versa, to eliminate the discrimination on the basis of sex for practitioners. People could get around this if they were talking to themselves and a person of the same sex was with them and happened to be writing things down. The most famous and influential writing we have on this practice is Powwow or Long Lost Friend by John George Holman. Holman was a printer in Reading, Pennsylvania, and published the book in 1820. This book is considered the oldest American grimoire and contains a collection of prayers for healing and protection for both people and livestock. It is unclear if John George Holman was a practitioner of powwow himself, or if he simply recorded the practices of other practitioners. There is some evidence that he is a practitioner, and he also printed many copies of the Albertus Magnus, one of the classic occult books. We do know the rituals in the book were actually used by the practitioners of the time because of the archaeological evidence left throughout southeastern Pennsylvania. Thankfully, a lot of archaeological evidence of powwow rituals has survived the test of time, most commonly in barns. Concealed written talismans were placed in the infrastructure of barns to bless, protect, and secure the well-being of the building, livestock, and farmers whose lives depended on them. One of the most interesting collections of talismans that has been found were 3 different talismans found in different barns in Berks and Lehigh County in 2008. Each talisman was found in a different barn that was built in 1940, and they were all identical. Each talisman was written on red cotton rag cardstock measuring 3 by 4 inches. 3 holes can be found in the talismans where they were nailed to the floor, likely to symbolize the Trinity. The majority of the text on the card is in English, but the handwriting is awkward and it is believed to be written by a native German speaker. The first line on the card says, "Help success come to my barn and stock, horses and cows." The line following is a collection of symbols archaeologists have not been able to decipher. Astrological symbols then follow. These symbols are believed to not be dates because they were found at all 3 barns, but to symbolize the astrological meanings of the planets that were common in the time. The talisman ends with the final line in English, "Success and good health come to all our stock." Though we do not know who made these talismans, they are a wonderful example of someone who helped various families. Powwow practitioners are folk healers and spiritual protectors, and they're certainly not our stereotypical idea of a mystic. but they have a rich cultural and magio-religious history. These practices are still carried on by some in southeastern Pennsylvania, maybe even some of our neighbors and friends, without us even realizing it.